At 2:47 in the morning at the Palermo Seismic Observatory, the duty officer's coffee went cold as earthquake signals flooded in from across the Mediterranean. Mount Etna's eruption was not local. Within 6 hours of the initial blast, monitoring stations from Naples to Athens were registering what seismologists are calling volcanic contagion, a cascade of awakening activity across Europe's most dangerous volcanic network. Stromboli responded first. Its persistent glow suddenly intensified into violent Vulcanian explosions. Then Volcano's crater lake began heating rapidly. By midnight, even Greece's Nisseros volcano, dormant for 40,000 years, showed ground uplift patterns that match pre-eruption signatures. This synchronized awakening revealed something that is rewriting volcanic science. Europe's volcanoes are not isolated systems. They are nodes in a continental-scale pressure network, connected by deep crustal fractures that function like geological transmission lines. When Etna releases massive amounts of magma pressure, it does not just vent locally, it redistributes stress across the entire Mediterranean convergence zone. Dr. Alessandro Tebaldi's research at the University of Milan has mapped this hidden network, using 20 years of seismic data. The connections run deeper than anyone imagined, linking every major volcanic system from Vesuvius to Santorini through a web of strike-slip faults and magma transfer zones. And now Mount Etna has activated the network. If the volcanoes of Europe are connected by underground pressure highways, what happens when the continent's most active system triggers a chain reaction across every sleeping giant, from Italy to Greece? Are we about to witness the first synchronized volcanic awakening in recorded history? Mount Etna, towering over the island of Sicily, is no stranger to violent eruptions. This massive stratovolcano, standing at 3,357 meters tall, has been shaping the Mediterranean landscape for over 500,000 years. Its formation began during the Quaternary period, as the African and Eurasian tectonic plates collided, creating a hotspot for volcanic activity. Throughout its long history, Etna has experienced numerous eruptions, ranging from gentle lava flows to explosive events that have sent ash and debris high into the atmosphere. The volcano's activity has been well documented since ancient times, with Greek and Roman historians describing its fiery displays. Dr. Marco Neri, a volcanologist at the Istituto Nazionale di Geofisica e Volcanologia, explains, Etna is one of the most active volcanoes in the world. It has erupted over 200 times since 1500 AD, with some eruptions lasting for months or even years. The volcano's frequent eruptions have shaped not only the physical landscape, but also the lives of the people who call Sicily home. The fertile volcanic soil has supported agriculture for centuries, but the constant threat of eruptions has also forced communities to adapt and live in harmony with their volcanic neighbour. Etna's significance extends beyond its local impact. The volcano sits at the heart of the Mediterranean volcanic arc, a chain of volcanic systems that stretches from southern Italy to Greece. This arc formed as a result of the complex tectonic interplay between the African and Eurasian plates. Dr. Tebaldi explains that the Mediterranean volcanic arc is the result of the subduction of the African plate beneath the Eurasian plate. As the African plate sinks into the Earth's mantle, it releases water and other volatiles, which lower the melting point of the overlying mantle rock and create magma. This magma rises through the Earth's crust, feeding the numerous volcanic systems along the arc. The Tyrrhenian Sea, located between Italy and Sicily, is a back arc basin formed by extension of the Earth's crust, and it has created a chain of volcanic islands known as the Aeolian Islands. The Aeolian Islands include Stromboli and Vulcano, and they are well known for their volcanic activity. Stromboli, in particular, is famous for its persistent eruptions, and it has earned the nickname Lighthouse of the Mediterranean. Further east, the arc continues into the Aegean Sea, where a series of volcanic islands, including Santorini and Nisseros, mark the boundary between the Eurasian and African plates. These islands have been the site of some of the most violent volcanic eruptions in human history, with the Bronze Age eruption of Santorini, circa 1600 BCE, being one of the largest known volcanic events in the past 10,000 years. On the evening of June the 12th, 2025, Mount Etna erupted with an intensity that shocked even the most experienced volcanologists. The eruption began with a series of powerful explosions that sent ash and volcanic bombs soaring into the sky. As the eruption continued, a massive lava fountain emerged from the volcano's summit crater, reaching heights of over 1,000 meters. But what happened next was even more surprising. Within hours of Etna's eruption, seismic stations across the Mediterranean began to detect unusual activity. Stromboli, located just north of Sicily, suddenly intensified its eruptions, sending glowing ash and lava fragments cascading down its slopes. At the same time, the crater lake of Vulcano, another Aeolian island, began to heat up rapidly. Water temperatures rose from a normal 20 degrees Celsius to a searing 90 degrees Celsius in just a few hours. Steam and gases began to vent from the lake, creating a haunting, otherworldly scene. Seismic unrest continued to spread, with monitoring stations in southern Italy detecting a rapid increase in earthquake activity. The Campi Flegrei caldera, located just west of Naples, began to show signs of ground uplift, with some areas rising by over 20 centimeters in a matter of days. But the most shocking developments came from Greece. The Nisseros volcano, located in the Dodecanese Islands, had been dormant for over 40,000 years. Yet on the night of June 12th, seismic stations detected a sudden increase in earthquake activity beneath the volcano. Ground deformation measurements revealed that the volcano was inflating rapidly, with some areas rising by over 10 centimeters in just a few hours. Dr. Tebaldi, who has been studying the Mediterranean volcanic arc for over 2 decades, was stunned by the developments. He said that they had never seen anything like this before. It is as if all of these volcanoes are suddenly waking up at once. As scientists scrambled to make sense of the unprecedented volcanic activity, a new picture began to emerge. The simultaneous awakening of so many volcanoes across such a vast area could not be a coincidence. There had to be a deeper connection. Dr. Tebaldi and his team at the University of Milan had been studying the Mediterranean volcanic arc for years, using advanced seismic imaging techniques to map the deep structure of the Earth's crust beneath the region. What they found was stunning. Dr. Tebaldi explains that they discovered a network of deep fractures and faults that connect all of these volcanoes. These fractures act like a superhighway for magma and volcanic fluids, allowing them to move rapidly from one volcano to another. The discovery of this hidden network has forced scientists to rethink their understanding of how volcanoes work. Previously, volcanoes were thought to be largely independent systems, with each one operating on its own timeline and responding to local tectonic forces. But the events of June 12th, 2025, have shown that volcanoes can be far more interconnected than previously believed. When one volcano erupts, it can send a pulse of pressure through the network, triggering eruptions at other volcanoes hundreds of kilometers away. Dr. Francesca Funiciello, a geophysicist at Roma Tre University, has been using advanced computer models to simulate the behavior of the Mediterranean volcanic arc. She says the models show that the network is highly sensitive to changes in pressure. A large eruption at one volcano can cause a cascade of activity across the entire network. The implications of this discovery are profound. If volcanoes are interconnected, then the risk of a major eruption is much higher than previously thought. A large eruption at one volcano could trigger a chain reaction, leading to multiple eruptions across the entire Mediterranean region. The potential consequences of a synchronized eruption across the Mediterranean volcanic arc are difficult to overstate. The region is home to over 200 million people, with major cities like Naples, Athens, and Istanbul located in close proximity to active volcanoes. A major eruption at any one of these volcanoes could have devastating consequences. The ash and volcanic gases released by an eruption could cause widespread respiratory problems, while lava flows and pyroclastic density currents could destroy homes and infrastructure. But a synchronized eruption across the entire arc could be catastrophic. The ash and gases released by multiple eruptions could blanket the entire region, causing widespread crop failures and economic disruption. Lava flows and pyroclastic density currents could destroy entire cities, displacing millions of people. The impact would also be felt far beyond the Mediterranean region. The ash and gases released by the eruptions could disrupt air travel across Europe and Asia, while the economic fallout could ripple across the global economy. Dr. Funiciello's models also suggest that a synchronized eruption could have long-term effects on the Earth's climate. She explains that the amount of ash and gases released by multiple eruptions could cause a significant cooling effect. We could see global temperatures drop by several degrees for years or even decades. The events of June 12, 2025 have forced scientists to confront a new reality. The Mediterranean volcanic arc is not a series of isolated volcanoes, but a highly interconnected network that can behave in unpredictable and catastrophic ways. As Dr. Tebaldi puts it, we need to rethink our approach to volcanic risk assessment. We can no longer look at each volcano in isolation. We need to consider the entire network and how it might respond to changes in pressure. This will require a massive investment in monitoring and research. Scientists will need to deploy new sensors and develop new models to better understand the behavior of the network. They will also need to work closely with governments and communities to develop new strategies for mitigating the risk of a synchronized eruption. But perhaps most importantly, the events of June 12, 2025 have underscored the need for greater public awareness and preparedness. Dr. Funiciello urges that we need to educate people about the risks of living in a volcanic region. We need to develop better early warning systems and evacuation plans. And we need to invest in the infrastructure and resources needed to respond to a major eruption. The Earth Attacks community has a vital role to play in this effort. By sharing your observations and experiences, you can help scientists better understand the behavior of these volcanoes and develop more effective strategies for mitigating the risk. If you live in a volcanic region, stay informed about the latest developments and be prepared to evacuate if necessary. And if you are planning to visit a volcanic region, make sure you understand the risks and take appropriate precautions. The future of the Mediterranean volcanic arc is uncertain, but one thing is clear: we cannot afford to ignore the threat of a synchronized eruption. We must work together to better understand this complex and dynamic system and develop the tools and strategies needed to protect ourselves and our communities. By joining the Earth Attacks community and staying informed about the latest developments in volcanic science, you can be a part of this vital effort. Together, we can build a safer and more resilient future in the face of one of the Earth's most powerful and unpredictable forces.